Governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the Governor's Emergency Order Number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and subsequent extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the Governor's Emergency Order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or to the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 827-2471-7335. And the passcode is 403067. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Patricia Clee.
Alderwoman Clee contacted me to say that she's definitely sick tonight and will not be attending.
Okay. Alderwoman Elizabeth Liu.
You're on mute.
Sorry, yes. I'm here alone and I can hear the proceedings.
Okay. And Alderman Linda Harry Gathright, I am present. I'm in this room alone and I can hear the proceedings. Alderwoman at Large, Shoshana Kelly.
I'm here alone and I can hear everyone.
Alderman at Large, Brandon Michael Laws.
I'm here alone and I can hear everyone.
Alderman at Large, Michael B. O'Brien Sr.
I am present. I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
And Mayor Jim Donches.
I am present and I'm social distancing, therefore attending electronically, and I'm alone in the room.
We have 6 in attendance and we're good.
All right, so as the first item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the committee? Next, we have communications. We have none. Unfinished business, none. New business resolutions, R21-110. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, a motion authorizing the mayor to enter into a First Amendment to concession agreement with Granite Diamond LLC.
And that's a motion to recommend final passage?
Actually, this says authorizing the mayor to enter into a First Amendment to concession. I guess final. It doesn't say so. Okay, final passage.
Well, so that's the title of the resolution. So the motion is to recommend final passage, at least for the purposes of discussion. And we have Director Photo here to tell us regarding the substance of the resolution.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Donches and members of the Finance Committee. On May 14th, 2019, the city entered into an agreement with Granite Diamond LLC, better known as the Silver Knights, to utilize Holman Stadium for 2 years with 5 additional 1-year options for renewal. The agreement includes 28 home games to be played beginning Memorial Day week and ending around mid-August each year. And there could be a few playoff games in that. Granite Diamond pays the city $1,000 per game, and the city will also receive 40% of net profits of concession sales from city non-league games and city-sponsored events. The legislation before you is the result of a request from Granite Diamond to exercise the first year of their 5-year options for renewal. Last year was a tough year due to COVID, but somehow we still found a way to play baseball. And we're hopeful that 2021 will be a better year. The Creedon family, who own Granite Diamond, have been excellent to work with, and we're very pleased to have them and the Silver Knights in Nashua.
All right. Any discussion? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you, Mayor Donchis. Just a question through you to Director Photo.
Of course.
Sure.
The legislation said something about there will be expenses for lighting and electricity. Are these expenses expected to be the same as they were in the past? And also, what is that expense roughly?
You know, I don't know exactly what the expense is for lighting for Holman. I could get that to you, but yes, that is something that we budget for. And that of course is not only for the Silver Knights, it's for all of the other entities that also use Holman, such as our 3 high schools, Babe Ruth. We also, let's see, the Legion plays there. We also have a couple of over 30 leagues that play at Holman. And then we also have a number of our own events, 4th of July festivities. We have the Food Truck Festival and the Brew Fest. So it would include all of those things, not just for the Silver Knights. So, but I could get you what the utility costs are per year. I just don't know that off the top of my head.
May I follow up?
Yeah, of course.
No, that's fine. I just wasn't sure if they were new expenses. So it's just something budgeted. That's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, well, the motion is to recommend final passage. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes,
and Mayor Donchis.
Yes, the motion passes. Next, we have R21-113.
Yes.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion for final passage by roll call for authorizing the mayor to I'm sorry, wrong one. Go down. Yep. Authorizing the mayor to enter into a First Amendment to the 14 Court Street lease for Unit B with Liquidity Therapy LLC.
And we have Tim Cummings, Economic Development Director, here to talk about the terms of this resolution, as well as Alderman Clemens, who was involved in these discussions, I believe. So I will ask Mr. Cummings to explain the terms.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Again, Tim Cummings, Director of Economic Development. The amendment before you is relatively simple. All it does is clarify and make explicit that the utilities that are using to service Liquid Therapies leased premise area will be sub-metered, and the cost of the usage of said utilities would be paid by Liquid Therapies. The responsibility for the sub-metering would be on the city. It's going to take a little time to get those sub-meters in, and so we're starting off the utility collection at July 1st of 21. So those are the 3 essential elements that are in the amendment. The reason why we're doing this is to clarify and just clean up from the previous lease language, where it was a little foggy or unclear as to the utility usage, and this makes it more explicit and is something that Liquid Therapy looks favorably upon, and so do I. And I'm asking for your approval this evening. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on the Liquid Therapy lease? If not, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. We now have new business ordinances, of which we have none. Record of expenditures. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Okay, good night. I motion that the Finance Committee has complied with the city charter and ordinance pertaining to the record of expenditures for the period from January 15th, 2021 to January 28th, 2021 by roll call.
Any comments or questions on the record of expenditures?
Yes, I have one.
Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. I had asked a question of a couple of the departments, and I'm not quite clear on why this is done. On the record of expenditures for the abatements that we pay, we don't really identify the payee, and it seems as though, according to our ordinances, we are required to list the payees. 5-129. It says the name of the person to whom the account or claim was allowed. And the only answer I got was it would not be appropriate. Could someone help me understand why abatements aren't identified as, the payees?
The payee, the person to whom the check is written.
Yeah.
Ms. Kleiner, I think, is on the call. Can you answer that question? You're on mute too.
Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor Donches, members of the committee. So the check, the record of expenditures is who the check is written to. I believe the question is, who is the check benefit of, which is a different question. So you may have a check that is written because the taxes or the payments are through a mortgage company, or they're through another entity, and then the abatement is returned. So I don't think the question is really who the check is written to. The check, the name on the record of expenditures is who the check is written to. I believe what Alderwoman Loom may be referencing is who is the check benefiting.
Who is the property owner? So you're saying that, like, if a mortgage company is handling the taxes or some third party, that the refund goes to the third party handling the tax payments, whereas the owner of the property could be someone different than the payee of the check. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Alderwoman Lou, does that answer your question or not?
No, it sounds really confused. I mean, I understand we have property owners whose mortgage company manages their taxes and is the custodian of their tax payments. When we write a check as an abatement, we may be sending it to the mortgage company, but certainly somewhere on the check it says for the benefit of this particular person who has an account there. And it, you know, I'm sorry, it doesn't sound like what you're telling me is very well thought out. I don't understand why there must be a name on any conveyance of, you know, money to an institution, which institution someone has a mortgage at.
So you're saying that you think the name of the property owner should appear in the record of expenditure in addition to the payee on the check, if it's different?
I think the person for the, so when you have someone like CoreLogic that's paid, CoreLogic did not file an abatement request. And I just wonder if it's an unnecessary clouding of who these checks are paid to.
No, I'm not disagreeing with
if
you. I'm just trying to find out what, you know, make sure I understand the point. I think you're saying that the name of the party owning the property to whom the abatement benefits, whom the abatement really benefits in substance, should be, that name should appear in the record of expenditures in addition to the payee of the check, if those are different, correct?
I don't care. I don't personally think, to me, I don't know what is legally required, but I mean, the way I'm reading this, it says the name of the person to whom the account or claim was allowed. That's not their mortgage company. And I've directed this to legal and with no response. And the only response I've gotten is it would be inappropriate. And I just want a better understanding of why that's not appropriate.
All right, well, I mean,
Mayor, if I may, Mayor?
go ahead.
So the name in the record of expenditures is the name that the check is written to. And I think there's two different things here. So when an abatement goes to the Board of Assessors and is approved for payment by the tax office, there is a record, a list that goes to the tax office, signed off by the Board of Assessors, which lists the property owners. So, and that certainly is a public document. That is the list of the official list of approved payments to property owners for an abatement. So that would actually have the property owner's name. And I think we provided those. That's the official record of approved abatements. The record of expenditures is not a list of approved abatements. That's a record of who checks were issued to. So I really think they're two separate things, both of which are certainly public documents, and both which can be provided. Only the list of approved abatements would be found in the Board of Assessors, and the record of expenditures would be found in the financial documents.
Now, let me see if I follow that, but what you just explained raised this question in my mind. So so if there is a mortgage company that is handling a group of abatements, and let's say, you know, they've made payments on behalf of 3 parties to get an abatement, does one check go to that mortgage company to cover the approved abatements, or is it 3 separate checks?
So let's think of it this way. The name that the tax bill goes to, the name on the tax account, is who tax would issue that to. So when tax bills are issued, many banks or mortgage holders receive the tax bills for different residents. So you can think of it that way. I'm not sure, Mayor, I would certainly want to look at it. I believe they are all separate, but I would verify that for you. I believe they are separate amounts, separate checks, which is why you see them listed quite often, multiple times.
All right, well, I think I understand Alderwoman Lu's question, and I would be glad to inquire further on that issue. You're just saying that the name of the taxpayer should be in the record of expenditures, right? Basically, in addition to whoever,
That's what I,
okay, well, we could check that out. I've not had that question come up before, and we're glad to look into it
thank you.
and get an answer from legal. Alderman Clemmons, did you have some input here?
Yeah, just briefly, working in the industry, I can tell you that every city and town does it a little bit different, depending on the size of the town. I know that we've received checks from the city of Nashua, and typically when in my own company, because we have mortgage holders that live here, and I can tell you that the city sends out, at least from my experience, the individual check per the taxpayer. But it references, and what we look up is we reference the property tax ID and not the owner. And the reason we do that is because we have, and I assume that this is probably true across the board, is that we have people that own multiple properties in Nashua or any other city for that matter. And so if a check comes in from the same town, we don't want to know who the person is necessarily. We want to see the property tax ID. So typically those checks reference the property tax ID and not the person.
Because
So
you're saying,
I can't recall off the top of my head whether or not the ones that I've seen from Nashua have the name listed on it. Most of them that come in from across the country, because we lend nationwide, just reference the tax ID number, because that's what we're looking
you're
for.
saying that's for clarity, because with the tax ID number, you know exactly where the abatement should apply. Whereas if it had the name of the owner, that owner might have 10 different properties and you have no idea where it should go.
Correct.
Okay. Well,
but again, I'm speaking from my experience, and I don't recall how Nashua particularly does it.
well, that's an interesting point. All right. Well, we'll check this out and kind of report back. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So any other questions or comments on the record of expenditure? If not, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lu,
Yes,
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes,
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. All right, next we have general discussion. Any items of general discussion? Public comment. Any members of the public wish to address the committee? All right, remarks by aldermen. Any aldermen have remarks? I don't see anyone. In the absence of Alderwoman Clee, I will call on Alderman O'Brien.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make the motion to adjourn of the Finance Committee by roll call.
Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
yes,
Alderwoman Lu,
yes,
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. And the meeting of the Finance Committee is adjourned at 7:24. I hope everyone has a good evening.
You too.
thank you.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.